Warning: the Lobo show contains adult content, crude humor that may go against your religion, ethics, and morals. A perspective point of view you may never find your own. Viewer discretion is advised.
Just around the corner that is high. Down the street that losers use. If you can wade in through the teardrops, you find me at the home of the blues. I walk and I cry while my heart beats, keeps time with the track of my shoes. The sun never shines through this window of mine. It's dark at the home of the blues. Oh, but the place is filled with the sweetest memories. Memories so sweet I wanna cry. Dreams that I've had left me feeling so bad. I just wanna give up, lay down and die. So if you just lost your sweetheart and it seems there's no good way to choose, come along with me, misery lovers company. You're welcome at the home of the blues. You're welcome at the home of the blues.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, hopefully, to the daily, weekly debacle, the black eye of radio, the smell of decease when you listen to it, smell-o-vision. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lobo Show. I am your host, Lobo, and with me, as always, my producer, Heapsack. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of news, a lot of crammed information we like to put into here, and we like to thank everyone and anyone who is listening. Like, sub, and comment, or don't. You know, that's how we roll over here in the Lobo Show. And I want to discuss something with you guys here, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, if everybody here not necessarily just in America, but anywhere else, I think the big news is, when it comes down to it, and we covered lots about this before, but just in general right now, is this whole like the Me Too movement. And I think the Me Too movement is kind of an old word to say, right? Because it's not necessarily that was so, like, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago, 6 months ago, or some shit like that, right? But the thing that I want to talk about is like how now in this day and age, you're getting a lot of people who are getting a lot of fucking trouble in this day and age for shit they did 20, 30 years ago, you know,
they're 40 years ago.
40 years ago, right? More than that and shit. So you're seeing people come out of the woodwork, and I'm trying to say it's mostly women. There's mostly women coming out of the woodwork, coming after these successful men. Now, like I said, I'm not going to choose my words carefully. I think that as adults, you can read the underlying tone of what I'm trying to say here. Now, this is what's going on. We're seeing a surge of all these successful men. Most of these men are multi-millionaires. Some of them fucking billionaires and shit. Look at this fucking Les Moonves, right? Who's CEO of CBS and shit, right? There are people out there. Look what happened with Matt Lauer, right? So there's a lot of people, high prominent people, very fucking got a lot of fucking money, who are getting accused of shit that they did years ago with lack of evidence. A lot of these guys are getting fucked, and they're getting fucking fired. They're losing their position. They're losing credibility, you know? And a lot of this is going on and on every effing day. Every day that you're looking on the news, you're watching the news, you're seeing all of this, right? So I think this is a hardcore discussion that we should have a serious discussion on, because literally it already has, but it's going to the White House now, right? Obviously, what's going on here in the United States, the big news in terms of politically, is this Brett Kavanaugh guy, right? This Brett Kavanaugh, Hesack, maybe you can enlighten everyone here of what's going on with this guy, of who he is, and and how this whole thing ties in together.
Yeah, it's all over the television. He's a 53-year-old Republican. He is an American attorney who serves as the United States Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. He is currently a nominee to be the Associate Justice on the United States Supreme Court. Professor Christine Ford testified that Kavanaugh assaulted her in the 1980s during a high school house party. Ford testified that Kavanaugh held her down and grinded on her as he tried to take off her one-piece bathing suit. Other women, such as Deborah Ramirez, claimed that Kavanaugh exposed himself in front of her during a college party. And a third accuser, named Julie Swetnick, came forward with claims that she witnessed him constantly engage in excessive drinking and inappropriate behavior of sexual nature with women in the early 1980s.
Yeah. Okay, listen. This is what the fuck I'm trying to tell you. Now, obviously, it's one of those things where you kind of truly have to fucking hear both sides before you get in the uproar and jump. Because I know there's many men out there you go, oh, fucking lying ass broads, right? And there's a lot of women out there go, oh, right off the bat, I believe it. This guy, he completely raped a girl. Now, let's listen to the accusations here. The accusations is not rape. It's some grope. And the accusations is, listen, this man is what, in his fucking 60s or some shit, in his 50s, right?
He's 53 years old.
He's 53, right? And now this is accusations about when he was in high school and shit, right? So this is the fucking thing that gets me. Where the fuck do they find these fucking people? Because not for nothing, man, it seems like these fucking liberals, I mean, come on, let's be fucking real here. Let's be fucking real. It seems like these liberals are just pulling these people out of the fucking woodwork and make them come up with some bullshit. Because the truth of the matter is, the lady that you talked about, the first lady, she's not even fucking credible, man. She could remember shit that happened 25 years ago, but she can't remember shit when it happened 2 years ago, when they were doing this whole fucking questioning and everything, you know? And this is what I'm trying to tell you, right? Forget about what my opinion is on this whole fucking thing. But the question is like, why was someone literally wait? If it's a woman out there who and I know some people go, well, you don't know with women, you don't understand, you're not a woman. But why would a woman literally come out so many, like 25 plus years later, 25 to 30 fucking years later, and then come out as soon as this guy's about to be Trump was gonna appoint this guy Supreme Court justice, so this guy's in the fucking paper, and now people girls, oh, me too, oh, he groped me too, he grabbed my ass, he did all this other shit. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's like, how the fuck how are you gonna get evidence on this whole thing? So you have to somebody gonna say, well, yeah, I was at this party and some shit, and then my friend was there. You can ask her, and of course she's gonna corroborate to me, it sounds confusing. I know I'm sounding confusing to you guys, but this is how confusing it fucking is. So what happened? What was the aftermath of all this accusation, Sack?
Well, the aftermath was President Donald Trump today ordered the FBI to conduct a limited supplemental background investigation into the allegations of sexual assault against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Republicans are moving forward with plans to vote.
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans going to vote, right? And I told you, this whole fucking investigation is like, it's never going to be right with the liberals, because listen, this whole thing what happened with Anita Hill and shit years ago, and Clarence Thomas, and they did an investigation and they found out there was nothing to it, and the liberals, it still wasn't right for them. Sometimes they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear what they want to believe with just what they want to believe. So it's so weird, like, if they do this investigation and they feel like, which I completely believe is a complete waste of time, and if you listen to a lot of these fucking expert lawyers and shit, they're saying that it is a waste of time, but they're going to do it just to appease the people. And when I say the people, it's the liberals. They're going to do it to appease them, and they're going to find out it's nothing. It's one thing if like, yo, this shit happened like 2 years ago, this guy has some steady background of shit like this happening, this guy has been clean as a whistle for 25 fucking plus years, 25 fucking years. And they want to talk about some shit that he did in high school. It's like, come on, man. I mean, listen, it's so weird that we have these rules and shit, like statutory rape. And like, for example, like there's like, oh, well, this happened 20 plus years ago, so technically you can't get sentenced for it. And there's like certain rules to that, certain laws. I'm not a fucking lawyer, but there is. But it's so weird that they can have that fucking kind of law, but it's like one of those things is like, which that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not defending that fucking law. I'm trying to say, if you did it, if the guys did anything like that, he's a piece of shit. The things that get me is like, why the fuck are these people are taking so long to come with these accusations? And even with this Me Too thing now, I don't want to hear this anymore. I think that if this shit is happening, you should go out and say it right away. And because no matter what, as you can see, just a point in the finger and saying something could get you really in trouble. So I don't want to hear this shit like, oh, for now, I want to hear somebody 10 years from now say, yeah, I've been holding this secret for 10, 15, or 15 fucking years. And, I want to come out now as soon as this guy's making fucking money. I'm telling you right now, come out right now with this shit. What's with this fucking waiting and holding back bullshit? It doesn't really make sense to me, man. And I know I'm a guy, you know what I mean? But come on, though. We're all human beings. I know women that thinks that this whole thing doesn't make sense. And I know there's a lot of guys getting in trouble for fucking speaking their minds and shit. Ain't that right, Sack?
Oh yeah, big time. What about that guy from Fox, Kevin Jackson? They fired him over some tweets. This is what he wrote: "Feminists are their own worst enemies and the enemy of women," he tweeted. And he also said, "They want men to never be believed. To hell with the notion. Women must be believed no matter what. Lying skanks is what these three women are, and we all know more," he said on Twitter.
And actually, I have exclusive audio among those tweets. I have an exclusive audio of Mr. Jackson at the HR office while he was being fired and what he told the HR lady. I'll play it right now.
Stupid fucking blabbermouth cunt!
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, man. It's kind of fucking strange that, these Fox News people, they always get in trouble for saying some crazy shit all the time. And, they for the most part, keep their job. They got the one fucking black guy in there, and he loses his fucking job. It's just, oh, my God. Oh, man. It's just ugly on both sides. Fucking super ugly, man. Super ugly. Super ugly on both sides.
You know what else is getting super ugly?
What's that?
Well, New York has its first ever all-woman fire department. Shout out to Engine 503 on 51st Street in Manhattan. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. It's
one victory for the women.
All right, so, buddy, hold on. I heard about this. So they have an all-female fire department in New York City. There's nothing but females over there in Manhattan, right?
Yep, half a dozen of them.
Why? See, that's the thing. Why? Is there a reason for that? Because listen, man, not for nothing, dude. I'm not saying that they're not capable of the job, but let's be fucking honest here. Let's be honest. Men are typically stronger than women. We can carry more than them. Listen, this is not fucking racist or sexist. It's not. It's a known fact. And I know there's some women like, oh, what about the chicks that can lift? I get that, yo. But let me tell you something. You get a fucking a girl who can work out all day and can lift weights all day. It's not going to be as stronger as a guy that's going to weigh more than her, is taller than her, and does the same fucking thing. Let's be honest. Dude, listen, I'm not trying to take it there, and I'm not saying that women can't do what the fuck they can't do, but it just seems like that's as stupid as saying that, oh, we got an all Mexican fire squad team on purpose. You know what I mean? Or we have an all...
No, that's too much, though. No, but here's... Well, I mean, just look at the military, right? I mean, women are they're joining the infantry now. It's a weird time in the world. I think they want to be, as equal. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. But,
but listen, no, dude, it's not about agree with it. Listen, all power to it. And that's what I'm trying to say is this, in terms of even to the military, they should be mixed together. This shouldn't be, just a female section.
Dangerous. Yeah, I don't know.
No, listen, man. I'm not talking about, they're in bunkers and they're training together and fraternizing and shit and they're fucking each other. I'm not saying that. But when it comes down to fucking wartime, I'm just talking about for men and women, it's the same thing. It's wartime. They should put them in together. They're soldiers. They're equal soldiers. They're equal people. I get that. They're soldiers. Listen, they're like police officers. They're equal. They ride together. They're together. They're like brothers and sisters. In the fire department, I get it. I'm not saying I don't believe in female firefighters. But let's keep it fucking real. It's just like the same thing with a woman cop. Listen, G, a lot of women cops get this shit beat out of them. You see them in here in SAC all the time. You see these little women cops, with all the respect, they're like 5'6". You know what I mean? 120 pounds. Who the fuck are they knocking out? Well, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to say, there's some shit that's going down, and they got to go fucking tackle a guy or put him down to the ground. Come on. Yeah. She's just collecting a fucking check. And don't get me wrong, I seen these brolic ass bras. We've seen them in New York all the time. We see some brolic ass female firefighters. Brolic, and most people don't know, means diesel, like strong as fuck, strong as shit. I'm not saying there isn't, but an all female fire regime, it just doesn't. Why would they do that? Like I say, that's like saying, give us an all black regime or an all white regime. It's like, what's the point? What the fuck is the point? Why? It's just like, it's like, especially in Manhattan, dude. Get the fuck out of here. These buildings, this fight, like the Manhattan, with all due respect to any fucking fire department out there, to me, I feel is one of the toughest jobs in America, is being a firefighter in Manhattan, because these buildings, these fires can happen like in the 30, 40th floor. Like, you know, you got to understand this. Further than trucks and shit can get to, and ladders, and there's whole things that go into that, man. But I don't know, man. I'm not saying thumbs down to the idea, but I just want to be absolutely real. Like, you know, these girls are gonna fight fires by themselves and shit. It's like, I don't know. Like I said, it's new to me. So excuse me for being a little perplexed about the whole situation, you know, when it comes down to it. And I say this, man, you know, you go looking back in the days of the men who built America, and I know women did their thing on the side, but look at the men. I say, when you see those pictures of those guys eating sandwiches and shit on top of a big ass fucking skyscraper, and it's just a bunch of men, fucking 100 feet high, just eating lunch. There's no nets, there's nothing down there. With all due respect, I didn't see any women in that picture. You know, I'm just saying I could be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm not a chauvinist. I just have to speak my mind. This is what I do. If this is your first time listening, I am the Lobo. That is Heapsack, and this is the Lobo Show. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we appreciate everyone here listening, and that's what we call here the first segment, the opening monologue, if you will. But as of right now, I want everybody to do me a favor. I want everybody to put the children away if they're listening. I want everybody to strap in to the seatbelts, hold on tight, and get ready for the roller coaster that is the greatest segment in podcast history. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself. This is the Nightly News with the Heapsack.
WINS, WINS HD, WWFS HD3, New York. All news, all the time. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, September 28th, 2018, 62 degrees in New York City, and this is the Nightly News with the Sack. Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, denied bail by the New York Times. Bill Cosby was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison on Tuesday for drugging and sexually abusing a woman at his home 14 years ago, completing the downfall to a disgrace of a man from the heights of stardom and putting an exclamation point on the first major conviction of the #MeToo movement. Mr. Cosby, 81 years old, has been convicted in April of assaulting Andrea Constant, a Temple University employee at the time of the assault, who had looked upon him as a mentor, but ended up being just one of the dozens of women who had accused him of acts of sexual abuse. 9 of those women and Miss Constant were in the Montgomery County Courthouse to witness the sentencing by Judge Stephen T. O'Neill. Mr. Cosby's wife, Camille, was not there. "It is time for justice, Mr. Cosby. This has all circled back to you," Judge O'Neill said. "The day has come. The time has come." Acknowledging the impact that the case has had on Mr. Cosby's legacy, Judge O'Neill added, "Fallen angels suffer most. Mr. Cosby is heading straight to prison, as the judge denied him a request that he remain free on bail while he pursues an anticipated appeal. He was emotionless as he was led from the courtroom in handcuffs by 4 sheriff deputies. Prosecutors have asked for a maximum term of 5 to 10 years. When the sentence was announced, Mr. Cosby sat quietly and made no reaction. Miss Constant stared straight ahead, and other women, accusers, seated more toward the back, did not celebrate, but some later expressed their happiness. "This is fair and just," said Janice Dickinson, the former model who had testified at the trial that Mr. Cosby had assaulted her at the Lake Tahoe hotel room in 1982. "I am victorious," she said. Mr. Cosby's journey to prison was a long one. After his arrest in December of 2015, his first trial in 2017 ended with a hung jury after 6 days of deliberations. But at the retrial in April, in the same courthouse and before the same judge, a jury convicted Mr. Cosby on only the second day of deliberations on 3 counts of aggravated assault. One key difference in the trials during the retrial, Judge O'Neill allowed 5 additional accusers to give their accounts of what they said was sexual abuse by Mr. Cosby.
Man, listen, I'm not going to take away what Cosby did. Cosby, if he's guilty of it, there's a thorough investigation. There's many women coming out of what he's saying. I guess justice was served. He's a piece of shit. Let me just say one fucking thing right quick though. This fucking Judge O'Neill, right? The judge of this whole fucking trial here. He has to be the biggest fucking cunt in the world. And I'm going to tell you why I think this guy is an absolute fucking idiot and a moron. What is this fucking shit? Oh, the time has come, Mr. Cosby. What the fuck is that? And these stupid ass quotes. Who the fuck are you? Just be a fucking judge. We don't need your fucking theatrics. It's your day has come. What will you do? Motherfucker, you're the judge. You're going to tell me, motherfucker, what the fuck I'm going to do. You fucking asshole, limelight stealing motherfucker. Now, let me say this. Cosby, listen, man, Janet Dickinson is a fucking cow. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, I won. I feel victorious. Bitch, what the fuck were you this whole time? These other women are coming out of the woodwork. This bitch is coming out. Oh, yeah, me too. These me too broads. You know what I mean? You know what it is? Me too means you're the second one to stand up and say something. You know what that means? That you're not a fucking real woman. There was actually a real woman who came out first and said something, and that's why they go #MeToo. The fuck out of here with that shit. Let me tell you something. Cosby, what he did, he's a piece of shit. Because listen, I'm going by what he went by the law, and the guy lost. His lawyer must have sucked balls and everything. I don't fucking know. The guy went through appeals, still losing shit. I don't know, right? The guy legit was in cuffs. I saw it on CNBC. The guy's literally got denied bail. He's gonna do time. He's in prison right now, ladies and gentlemen. The fucking old Mr. fucking Popsicle. Was that the Fudge Popsicle Jello shit fucking Cosby show? Old Dr. Bill. Remember that shit at the end of the credits? It's like, oh, Dr. Bill Cosby. Dr. Bill Cosby. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Bill Cosby, they're gonna be examining your asshole in prison. Because that's what they do over there. And let me tell you this. In terms of special treatment, I don't know, man. Prison don't tend to special treat the wealthy. Look what happened to fucking Bernie Madoff and shit. The guy was over there. They didn't give a rat's ass if the guy was fucking, in prison doing this thing. Like, was a billionaire in the outside. Comes there, you're the same shit. Look at fucking OJ. Don't get it twisted. OJ was in population. OJ Simpson. But OJ was the man that he had a lot of respect from the brothers. So he had no problems and shit. You know what I mean? But OJ was legit. Like in prison, there's no special prison for rich people and for shit like that. They go to regular fucking jail. The problem with Cosby is, though, I'll give you this, though. Cosby is an old senile man. Talking about when they say he's no emotions, Cosby doesn't even know what the fuck he is, if you ask me, in my fucking opinion. It's not that he doesn't know, no emotion and shit. But the idea that even if his wife wasn't even there, it's like, then he almost knew. Like, look, man, you're going to get fucking, you're guilty. You're going down. There's no doubt about it. And it's fucking sad. It's unfortunate. But is it really? I mean, do we really know this Cosby guy for to go, oh, I feel bad for him? It's like the old saying in The Bronx Tale, the movie The Bronx Tale. It's like the old saying. He goes, look, man, like, remember he threw away his Mickey Mantle cards? And he was like, this guy, Mickey Mantle, he don't give a shit about me. So why should I give a shit about him? It's kind of like that shit, If you can't pay your rent tomorrow, let's see if fucking Bill Cosby is going to be there to fucking give a rat's ass. He probably isn't. So he doesn't give a fuck about you. So why the fuck you should give a shit about him? That's all I'm saying. You want to add anything to this, Zach?
Well, I mean, the only thing that I would like to add is that, to me, I just find it crazy how, this happened to Bill Cosby, because I grew up watching, Nick at Night, The Cosby Show, like everybody else did. And never in one's wildest dreams would you think, something like this would ever come to light. You think about it happening because, they're rich and they got money and, they do, sins. But to have this come out like this and him go to prison, and it's crazy.
There's
It's
no doubt
just
about it. Listen, there's
crazy.
no doubt about it. This is why racism, I think it only exists to the small-minded people, because you have to understand that Bill Cosby is a black man, right? And he was very prominent. He was doing stand-up in the 70s, and he was somebody that was respected in a way. Like I said, the PhD thing. I mean, you have to understand this guy was a smart guy, so and a very respected guy. Race, color, creed. You know what I mean? This guy was absolutely respected, highly regarded, absolutely regarded. Wrote many books. New York Times bestseller, you fucking name it, right? The guy was absolutely infamous, right? So, but the thing is, though, it's like that. So, but sometimes they fucking built you up to put you down. And the thing that gets me a little weird about this Cosby thing, and you're absolutely right, though, Zach, these are the guys at the time you're like, man, I never would have fucking thought about it. But now we're living in a generation where we're not surprised by anything now. Now we expect the worst from the best people in the world, which sucks. But I'll tell you this, though. This is the thing that gets me, that boggles my mind a little bit. It's like, they bring this fucking Cosby down and he's going to jail, but this Harvey Weinstein, this guy won't do a fucking day. Les Moonves, you know what I mean? He won't do a day. I mean, maybe these guys didn't really truly break the law. This guy, Cosby, is accused for date raping broads and shit. That's probably the worst of the worst, I guess. And to be honest, maybe that is a little worse than Weinstein and shit. But I don't know. Shit happened, 40 years ago? Cosby don't even remember. The guy's senile, obviously. And the guy's doing time in jail. We're living in a day and age. This is how cynical we are as Americans, mostly. That, fucking the father of TV, of television at one point, Bill Cosby, is sitting in prison, not for touching little boys and shit. It's for banging a bunch of brothers and shit, What are you gonna do? Let's move on, Sack.
In other news, man bites dog, pleads guilty to felony rap by the smoking gun. A Florida man who admitted to biting his dog to establish dominance over the animal has pled guilty to a felony charge, but has avoided prison time in connection with the bizarre incident, according to court records. Patrick Campbell, 27 years old, pled guilty Friday to an animal cruelty charge and was sentenced to 4 years probation by a Palm Beach County judge. Campbell was also ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and has been barred from processing animals of any kind or living with anyone with animals on the property. To enforce those animal rules, Campbell is subject to random inspections of his Lake Worth residence by animal care and control agents. Campbell was arrested in May after police responded to a 911 call about someone abusing a dog in the apartment. Campbell shared the apartment with roommates who told the cops that he was disciplining his dog, a 2-year-old husky. Officers found the dog inside a closet in Campbell's room where blood was smeared on the carpet and on a recliner. The animal, cops noted, was shaking and had a bloody ear. When asked how the dog was injured, Campbell replied, "I bit him to establish dominance." Campbell then told police that he sought to discipline the dog after the animal destroyed several items inside the apartment. In addition to biting the dog in his right ear, he also admitted to punching the dog in the face. One of Campbell's roommates told police that he saw him beating the dog on several occasions, leaving the animal on his back with his paws up and crying. A second roommate said that he heard the dog crying in pain while he hit the animal and screamed, "You little bitch." He was arrested, and as a part of the plea deal, he is required to perform 300 hours of community service. His supervision could be terminated, though, after 2 years if he does not violate any terms of his probation.
Yo, man, that guy's a fucking pussy. Let me tell you something, right? The guy was like, oh, he was trying to get dominance off the dog because he felt like the dog was trying to get off over him and shit. Listen, let me just speak layman terms, because first of all, there's no excuse for that shit. But it's like, he bites him, right? And I like the headline, man bites dog, That's like the old school headline in the newspaper. I like that. But, but the guy continuously beats up his dog. He punches him. He bites his fucking ear. He's constantly hitting him, and the dog is continuously screaming in pain and shit. How the fuck is that, you get dominance? Like, you're a fucking pussy, man. On some real shit, let me tell you something, man. I ain't no pussy ass liberal, like, oh, like, don't eat meat or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I absolutely believe in hunting on some real shit. And I believe in hunting as a game, as a sport as well. Not necessarily just for eating, as a sport, sure. You know what I mean? Fucking Velocity Savage, High Velocity Savage, not to call him out and shit. He's talking about bow hunting, wild hogs and shit. That's cool as fuck. It's just shit like that I want to fucking do. But the whole thing of, like hurting domestic animals like dogs and cats and shit for like, like to assert yourself as an alpha male is fucking bitch made. It's pussy shit. And I don't like that shit, bro. On some real shit. I'm going to tell you about this other guy. I'm not going to name his name. His fucking YouTuber who's got his pet out there. See this kid fucking feeding the dog alcohol and shit. That's animal abuse, man.
That's disgusting.
That's gross. You know what I mean? He's fucking giving he's pouring his drink out. He takes a drink out of his bottle. He pours his dog a drink. And the guy fucking thinks he's better than me? The guy fucking puts his nose high on me. He thinks my fucking shit is whack. Or he thinks, I say this and that. He doesn't even know the fucking facts. I talk about Trump or something. The guy listens halfly and fucking got his opinion on me and wants to fucking talk shit behind my fucking back. Meanwhile, this guy's fucking feeding alcohol of his dog and everybody's praising them. Get the fuck out of here. That shit's gonna catch up to you. And let me say something. I'm waiting for the fucking day till anybody calls me out personally. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to do that, man. I'm telling you right now, they don't want. I'm telling you, man. They don't want to do that. So listen, I think that's fucking disgusting, bro. It's gross that you got to beat the shit out of your dog and shit. I think the headline is hilarious. Man bites dog. When I was like, when he first was talking here, I thought this was gonna be funny, but that's some pussy shit. And it sucks that I bet you like his friends were a bunch of stoners. It was like, they have to be a little disgusted that they let that go on for that long. Like this guy had blood stains. His dog was bleeding blood stains. They didn't even fucking bother to clean it up type shit. And they know that's the dog's blood. And you're still there smoking weed and playing Xbox and shit at his crib. Fuck that, man. Come on. Come on, people. When you're in a video and you're just a group of people and you see a guy fucking feeding his dog alcohol, I want somebody to fucking be like, yo, listen, that's your thing and shit. But that's wrong. That's like, you ever see these assholes when they're blowing it down, smoking mad weed, and there's a baby there, and they think that's okay. I'm not gonna lie to you, G. I'm like disgusted by that. I feel that's garbage. I think that you're trash if you do shit like that. And like I said, I can't stress this enough. Don't get me wrong. Hunting for sport, hunting for game, I'm with that shit. Don't get me wrong. That's what it is. What it is. Don't get me wrong. But abusing the fucking like kicking a cat and shit or throwing a rock at a squirrel for no fucking reason is absolutely weird to me. And I think that you have problems and shit. You know what I mean, Zach?
Definitely.
That's all I'm saying about that. Unfortunately, let's move on.
In other news, SEC charges Tesla CEO Elon Musk with fraud by CNBC News. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission for fraud, according to court documents filed Thursday. Sources close to the company told CNBC that the company was also expecting to be sued, though Tesla was not named as a defendant in the complaint. Shares of the automaker fell roughly 11% in extended trading Thursday. The stock is roughly 30% below its 52-week high of $387.46. The SEC complaint alleges that Musk issued false and misleading statements that failed to properly notify regulators of material company events. The SEC is holding a press conference regarding the complaint. In August, Musk tweeted that he was considering taking Tesla private, adding funding secured. The tweet spurred a big scandal, the fall for Tesla, and sent the stock down for weeks. Musk later explained that he had been in discussions with the Saudi Arabian Souvenir Wealth Fund and felt confident the funding would come through as his proposed price of $420 per share. The SEC, in its complaint, alleged Musk knew that he had not agreed upon any terms for a going private transaction with the fund or any other funding source. He had no further substantive communications with representatives of the fund beyond their 30 to 45-minute meeting on July 31st. He never discussed a going private transaction at a share price of $420 with any potential funding source.
Right.
He had not contacted any additional potential strategic investors to assess their interest in participating in a going private transaction.
Precisely.
He had not contacted existing Tesla shareholders to assess their interest in remaining invested in Tesla as a private company. He had not formally retained any legal or financial advisors to assist with a going private transaction. He had not determined whether retail investors could remain invested in Tesla as a private company. He had not determined whether there were restrictions on holdings by Tesla's institutional investors, and he had not determined what regulatory approvals would be required or whether they could be satisfied.
Precisely. Hesack, I think you fucking nailed that story. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. This is a big fucking deal, man. The Security Exchange Commission is suing Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest fucking mind in this day and age. Do I think he's the greatest mind? No, but I think most people consider him the greatest mind of all times. And I'm trying to tell you, people, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who Elon Musk is, please look him up. Now, me personally, I'm going to say one thing, right? Personally, fucking Joe Rogan. I blame Joe Rogan, Heapsack, on this whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's all to blame for this.
I'm telling you.
He never would have went on that podcast and just, I mean, we don't have to get into it, but yeah, that little
no, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Is that a joint? Is that a cigar? Like, you know, that I don't want to say ruined, not everything, but man, did it take a big chunk out of, you know,
it put him on the magnifying glass. The shareholders started questioning him, and most people don't know what we're talking about if they didn't listen to last week's show. We discussed about, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Elon Musk, it was on. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan offered him. He didn't offer him. He was smoking a joint, a blunt actually, and then Elon Musk asked, what are you smoking? Is that a cigar? He was like, no, this is a blunt. And then Joe Rogan goes, hey, listen, man, you probably can't smoke this because you got shareholders and shit. And Elon Musk he replies, hey, look, man, it's legal, isn't it? Pass it over. And he took one hit, which was kind of a pussy hit too. It looked like he didn't even inhale, and he passed it right back. Any true fucking smoker take 2 to 3 hits minimum. You know what I mean? And, you know, then pass it back. Depending on the cipher, you know how many people were in there. But like I said, though, but now the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, is suing them. Man, the stock is fucking tanking. I'm a stockbroker. I'm a salesman, G, and most people know this that are listening by now. It's like this guy Elon Musk his popularity is not where it used to be, and to be quite frank, I'm not a fucking fan of the guy anyway. With this whole SpaceX bullshit, you know where my fucking stance on that whole thing is. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how the mighty has fallen, and they're fucking falling quick. And you can see in this day and age, I don't know, man, there's like the shadow people, and I guess the shadow people are the shareholders, to be quite frank. There's something shadow about that because they're the ones who are complaining, and they're the ones who are making, who are doing action and getting this guy fucking investigated and getting this guy possibly knocked down and shit. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the CNBC. I told you all day at work. It has to be there in the back. You're looking at the stock ticker, and they're talking about Elon Musk every fucking day, and how the stock is tanking, and how this literally was the biggest fucking company before that Joe Rogan podcast. Not for nothing, Sack. You know it.
Yep, it's very true, man. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how one little thing can cause this big chain reaction.
Yeah, and it is really, I mean, it really is silly. It really is nonsense when it comes down to it. It's marijuana. It wasn't like the guy was smoking crack. I respect Elon Musk for who he is, but in terms of what he does, I'm not a fan of it. You know what I mean? And most in conspiracy theories, guys, they shouldn't like the guy either because, you know, this guy is probably one of the guys who created that semi-collider conductor. That some of these people believe in that I don't. CERN. You know what I mean? But it's that shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. That guy's a piece of shit anyway. In a way, sometimes maybe this is just like, you know, everybody gets their comeuppance. You know what I mean? Like Johnny Cash said, whatever is done in the dark, sooner or later will be brought to the light. And I guess we're witnessing that whole thing, to be honest, when it comes down to this whole thing, man. I think this is very important, and I think we should follow up on this whole thing because I've never seen a billionaire mogul who's been through this scrutiny right now. And I don't care what nobody says. It was through a podcast, and it was because of marijuana. Two things that we love, Heapsack.
Absolutely.
Let's move on.
And finally, 42 years ago today, arguably the greatest heavyweight MMA fighter was born, Fedor Emelianenko. With a Sambo and judo background, he went on to have one of the greatest runs in combat sports history, going undefeated for over a decade when he finally received his first legit loss in 2010. He retired in 2012 and came back to fighting full-time in 2015. Even though a good gust of wind drops him these days, he is still shown to be competitive, as he knocked out UFC veteran and former heavyweight champion Frank Mir this year in less than a minute. Fedor was 4-0 when he got his first loss, but real fans of the sport don't consider that as his first loss because the fight was stopped due to a cut that was caused by a headbutt 17 seconds into the fight. The promoter needed a guy to win the fight because the winner was supposed to fight later on the same night. 5 years later, Fedor would smash the only man that gave him his loss on his record. Emelianenko made his debut in Pride when he was 10-1, fighting 6'11" kickboxing world champion Semi Schultz. Fedor proved to be a real dangerous heavyweight, dominating the giant for 3 rounds. So Pride put him in a #1 contenders match for the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight belt. He was paired up against the Texas Crazy Horse, Heath Herring, which he smashed for the entire first round, forcing refs to call the fight. Heath Herring was always a quality gatekeeper. Heath Herring was the same guy Brock Lesnar fought in 2008 to get his heavyweight title shot against then UFC heavyweight champion Randy Couture. So then the stage was set. Fedor was going to fight then Pride heavyweight champion Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, who showed the world he was the best heavyweight in MMA at the time by beating former UFC heavyweight champion and the 2000 Grand Prix winner Mark Coleman by submitting him in just over 6 minutes. Mark Coleman at the time was the guy in the heavyweight division. He was given the name the Godfather of Ground and Pound because of his fighting success. Nogueira fought Fedor, and he got dominated for 3 rounds. Fedor laid in Nogueira's guard, which was a very extremely risky game plan because of how declarated Nogueira's jiu-jitsu was. Fedor would go on to fight the who's who in Pride's heavyweight division until the company was bought out by the UFC in 2007. From there, Fedor signed with Affliction in 2008 to fight former UFC heavyweight champion 6'8" Tim Sylvia, who he finished in just 36 seconds to win the first ever WAMA heavyweight championship belt. He went on to defend his belt in 2009 against former UFC heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski, who he knocked out in the first round. From there, he was going to go and main event the third Affliction event, where he was scheduled to defend his belt against the youngest UFC heavyweight champion ever in Josh Barnett. But the event tanked when Barnett failed a drug test leading up to the fight, ultimately forcing Affliction to close up shop because of the matter, so the fight never materialized. From there, Fedor signed with Strikeforce to fight then 10-0 Brett Rogers. The fight to me personally showed Fedor's age and that it was slowly getting to him, and now that he was human. Although he knocked out Rogers in the second round, it was a wild fight where Fedor received a broken nose and got all bloody. Fedor's very next fight the following year would break his 10-year undefeated streak, where he received his first legit loss when he got submitted by Fabricio Verdum in 2010. From there, Fedor would receive a couple of more losses, the first to Bigfoot Antonio Silva in the 2011 Heavyweight Grand Prix, and then he got knocked out by Dan Henderson. But Fedor continued fighting until 2012, where he called it a career after knocking out Pedro Hizzo in Russia. He came back to fighting in 2015 to have one more run in the United States before permanently retiring from MMA. He is currently in Bellator's heavyweight tournament.
So he's still fighting it, man.
Yeah,
That's amazing. The guy sounds
still going.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
the guy sounds like a fucking amazing fighter. Absolutely, man. The guy, absolutely, like you said, man, he beat the best at the time, and the guy was
Yes, he
badass.
did.
And he lost when he got old, and that's what real fighters do. They lose. That's how you know when you're fucking one of the best in the world. When you when you lose when you get old. Look at Mayweather. Mayweather in his 40 hasn't lost yet, but that's what tends to happen, man. And this
Yeah,
guy,
I mean, like it's weird because people look down on him a little bit. Like they don't consider him the greatest heavyweight, but because he never went to the UFC, he was supposed to fight Brock Lesnar, but the money wasn't right. That's why he signed with Strikeforce. And
Hey,
that's
listen.
why people.
not for nothing, right? I know you like this Fedor guy and everything, but But to be honest, though, somehow never fighting in the USC is like an asterisk next to your record.
That's
though.
what everybody says.
It is though.
Yeah.
You have to admit that. I know the guy is badass. He total badass. But and I'm not saying that he couldn't beat those fucking nickel and dimers that are in the that this like rank fucking
Sure.
like 15 to 10.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he would have totally beat the shit out of them. He's like way overqualified. These guys, there's a lot of these guys are, although they're literally. I mean, am I wrong by saying that practically every MMA fighter that trains like who came in there through jiu-jitsu in some sense in terms of the martial arts guys, I'm not talking about the wrestlers or anything, but for the most part they're all black belts. I'm not talking about the guys who came there through MMA or the guys that came through wrestling, but I'm talking about like the jiu-jitsu guys, the fucking in some sense what like the Brazilian shit, that karate in some sense. I know there's like very few, but still these people are black belts, right?
Absolutely.
This guy Fedor, this guy was just a fucking tough prick, wasn't he?
He did compete in Sambo, like that was his thing, because that's like Russia's form of I wouldn't call it wrestling. It's kind of boxing with wrestling. Like they wear headgear, but they don't wear boxing gloves. They wear like little gloves, and it's not MMA. It's basically just boxing with takedowns. And he was a judo practitioner. He was very good at judo, and yeah, I mean, he wasn't like one of these guys, when you looked at him, you're like, oh, that guy's the best fighter in the world. I mean, he's kind of chubby, 5'10". He had a little beard belly on him.
That Khabib guy, right? What's his style? And he's like, I don't know, he's
the
Russian,
same thing.
Like,
yeah, he's a Sambo fighter.
Really?
He's Russian. Yeah. See,
those Russian guys. Okay, okay.
Their combat sport, I should say, is Sambo. That's what they believe in. Sambo is like foot locks and joint manipulation with boxing and takedowns. So when you add judo on top of that, which Fedor had, man, he was throwing guys around. Like he beat Mark Coleman twice.
And that's no joke. But I have to ask though. Like I said, I just want to make this very clear. Everybody's listening here. Sack he loves MMA. He loves boxing. That's his passion. He knows more MMA than absolutely I do. So like I used to love boxing as a kid, but more of the MMA, right? Like this guy, to me, I feel like he's like my Wikipedia of this shit, right? So let me ask you this though: when he fought Coleman, was Coleman like kind of like washed up? Was he older, or would you say like, nah, dude, Coleman was ready to go? This was kind of Coleman in his prime.
Here's the thing. He fought Coleman in 2004, and at this time Coleman was juiced through the gills. If anybody knows anything about pride,
I remember Coleman was the man though. Coleman was that guy. He was the ball dude, tall motherfucker, looked like a Greek god and shit. Absolutely,
exactly.
Tough as fucking nails.
Yeah, from Hammer House, Ohio, and all those guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just a good old American boy. Absolutely, good old American boy. Absolutely. So he beat the shit out of him, right?
He fought him twice. He fought him in 2004, and I mean, to be honest, Mark was ragdolling him. I mean, we got to remember, Mark Coleman was probably the strongest heavyweight at the time. He took down, Fedor really quickly.
So this was his first loss. This was Fedor's first loss. You're saying?
No. This was not his first loss. But how the fight happened was Mark Coleman came out and took him down right away, and Fedor armbarred him. Like Mark didn't get it. So Mark got a rematch in 2006. They fought in Vegas. And Fedor destroyed him with punches. Damn. He didn't even try to submit him. He destroyed him. So but at that point, Mark was older.
Okay. So would you say that Fedor ended his career?
No, because surprisingly, Mark Coleman came back to the UFC, man, in 2009.
But he just didn't have Fedor's number. Sometimes some guys you just can't beat that guy, and that guy Fedor. And I bet you Coleman was like, in some sense, it sucks as a fighter. You have to admit, it's like, you know what, I don't want to fight that guy unless I have to anymore. Like in a way, one of those things. I mean,
it was weird because when he fought him, he had his two daughters there. And after the fight, he brought his daughters into the ring, and it was so strange. I mean, Mark Coleman's face was mush.
That's so strange. No, hold on. First of all, that's strange as fuck.
It is.
Yeah, when you got kids and you like exactly, and you like embraced them, like, oh no, come to my fights, sit front row, and this is your dad, and then you lost. That is.
They were crying, man.
Dude, that's absolutely. Was it boys or girls? I just said
girls.
That's what I'm trying to say,
dude. Daughters, and they were young. They were really young.
Dude, that is fucking retarded. I mean, here's the thing. You know what retarded can get you banned in this day and age? I don't give a fuck. That is fucking retarded, dude. Retarded. I'm sorry. I get it. That's your life, whatever. But dude, it's like, come on. It's like another thing with it's like these wrestlers, right? Like remember, like I don't want to talk. Trust me, I know you love MMA, and like now I'm talking about wrestling. I know you're rolling your eyes, but it's
No,
like
no, who?
no, but I'm just saying. Like, do you ever seen like the thing with Mick Foley, and he's like the Rock is in there, and he's like
Sure.
bashing his head with a fucking
Oh my
chair.
God.
You got your
How could I
kids there,
forget?
yeah, right. And you got the other guy, like
Yes.
the AJ Styles guy. This was like recently, and it's like it's like this thing, and it's like the kids are like, why? Why do they need to see you getting your head bashed in with a chair, or even like you're saying? I remember Miguel Cotto would always have his kids out there, and his wife and the kids, like full front row. You know, and the boxer Miguel Cotto. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know. Like I guess that's what it is. But dude, the wife and the kids were always absolutely horrified. It's like, oh my god, you know. It's like fuck.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. If you're gonna go fight, and this is just my mentality, when you go to war, you don't bring your family. You bring your brothers, and that's it. I
That's
mean,
a
that's
fact,
the
Jack.
old,
That's not, you're saying
motto.
exactly. You bring your fucking guma. You bring your fucking your side piece broad.
Sure.
Absolutely. You want to show off your hot broad on the side, and your boys. You're absolutely right. You bring the brothers and shit. That's a fact. You know what I mean? That's a 100% fact. But in your family, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I don't know anything about that because I'm not a family guy. I'm not a family man and shit. But
Yeah.
Was Fedor a family man at the end of it?
I mean, he was, but he never had his family come to his
Right,
fights.
until like the very end, like you said that until like the
Yes,
daughters and
yes.
everything, right?
In 2012, when he retired, his family was there for his last
Right,
fight.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, let me ask you this though, and let's be honest. You like the guy, obviously. So you're not going to say that he didn't go to UFC because you don't think he had what it takes. You legit think that this guy was completely a businessman. He was like, nah, fuck that.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
can go do, and let's be honest. I can do my juice over here. I can't do my juice over there. I can get more money over here. I can't get more money over there unless I'm not juicing. I mean, come on, let's
I mean,
juice,
to be
juice,
fair,
juice, juice.
to be fair, Fedor never looked like he did stuff, but that doesn't mean that he didn't do anything, But I will say this: he had the fastest hands for the heavyweight. I mean, some people can say Junior Dos Santos. You've got your
What
Mark
about John
Hunt.
Jones?
Well, I mean, John Jones, I wouldn't say has the fat because he's not a heavyweight yet, and plus, John
Oh, he's
Jones's hands are
lightweight.
not that fast. He's
Right,
but
right,
but
right.
but he's good. But for heavyweight, Fedor, he would throw punches from his ass, and he
Right.
would be accurate. And that's kind of you just don't do that. Like normally, straight punches work. This guy
Right.
was throwing hooks.
One last
Like,
question. One last question, Heapsack. Who was the dream fight Mr. Fader should have with a UFC guy at the point where when he was rocking and rolling and UFC was doing his thing? So obviously, who's the
well,
one
we all
guy?
know that.
I don't
Brock
know.
Lesnar. Brock
Also, I didn't
Lesnar.
know that. I don't know that.
Yeah.
So Brock, but I mean, though. But listen,
Because at the time, okay, here.
Brock Lesnar's not good with his hands.
No.
How's
but
that a fair fight?
I will set it up for you. Okay, watch. In 2010, when Fedor first lost, because he was the greatest heavyweight in the rankings, and even though he wasn't in the UFC, you had to acknowledge him as the greatest heavyweight at the time. So when he lost, it was an open field to who was going to be the next guy in the heavyweight division. So UFC put on one of my favorite fights. Shane Carwin, who was undefeated at the time, was the UFC interim heavyweight champion, and he fought Brock Lesnar, who was the UFC heavyweight champion, and Brock won that fight. And that night, Brock, for one night, cemented himself as the greatest heavyweight in MMA. That's why people wanted to see that fight because, Fedor had a run, but Brock just beat Carwin, who was knocking everybody out in the first round.
Right.
So there was this, can Fedor beat him? Well, no, he can't because you can't knock Brock out. But, as you've seen, Brock lost his next fight to Kane, and Fedor lost his next fight. And, it's just how it goes, man. You can't predict these things. It's not pro wrestling. So it's like, that's why you got to strike the iron when it's hot. And Fedor didn't want to do it. Apparently, Dana flew out to some island. They met, and they just could not come to a deal. They just couldn't do it.
Damn, what's with all that secret shit? Got to fly out to an island? Let's meet secretly. Let's talk, and you don't come up with a deal after that.
With Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin has
Get
gone.
the fuck out of here!
I'm not lying.
Oh, this guy's a fucking commie. Fuck that guy. You know what? Fuck this Fedor guy. You didn't say all that before. I mean, listen. All right. I know the guy's. Like I said, he's a friend of yours and everything. All right, whatever. You know what?
Just a fan.
All right, you're a fan. Listen, the guy has an absolutely interesting story. But I'm not gonna lie, though. If this guy is a Vlad guy, though, he hates America.
He's Russian.
He's
Russian.
American scum. I will break you. That shit. Get the hell out of here. I didn't know. Come on. He's fucking Ivan Drago in the fucking
But he's
flesh.
very embraced. Like when he goes to
Yeah,
Chicago.
in Russia.
No, no, no. Like he fought in New York. I believe last year.
Oh
And
yeah, I think that's the fight that you went to over there. Yeah, the fight you
Yep,
went
yep.
to. I remember that.
Even
Yeah.
though he lost, you know, he
Right.
got a huge pop, and then he fought in Chicago. He got a huge pop. I mean, he gets a huge pop. You know, he is the greatest heavyweight of all time. So, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, you know what it was? I think when it comes down to the I think what took the deal off the table, to be quite frank. I know he's your guy and everything, but it was like, look, man, here's the thing. You could do what you want. We'll pay you a lot of money, but I'm not gonna lie. That was the what do you call that shit? The drug testing they have, what's the word for it? They call it the guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nowadays the USADA.
The USADA. So they're like, listen, USADA. He was like, nope. And that's the first thing I bet you they can. Then I was like, listen, man.
Do you really want me to tell you what it was? And
it was the USADA. Come on, don't tell me that it wasn't the drug testing. The guy's like, no. He's like, no, we don't. He's like, you're not gonna take my blood. You're not gonna take anything off of me. You're not doing that. I was like, you know, he said one of the. He said anybody like if you want. He's like Vladimir Putin can drug test me. He's like, and then he'll give you the results. Other than that, go fuck yourself. That's what it was. Come on, don't tell me otherwise, Heapsack. I know you know your MMA, but I know my bullshit. I know that.
His manager Vladimir Finkelstein would not budge.
Finkelstein. Why am I not surprised?
Well, hold on now.
A Russian Jew.
Come on now. You know?
I mean, come on. Let's be honest.
Keep him above the belt. Keep him above the belt.
All right. Well, that's one. That's one.
Okay. All right, fair enough. But he would not budge because he wanted a co-promotion. And if you know anything about the UFC does not do co-promotion. You're either a UFC fighter or you're not.
Right.
And I hate to say it, but that was that, man. I mean, it was
co-promotion.
Really yeah, bullshit.
Come on, though.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Hold on. So let's be clear. So I don't want to sound like an ignorant bastard because there are people. Hold on, wait. There are people listening who are absolutely fans of UFC, and they're like, yes, I like this. So let me say this then. So in some way, was he like a Golden Boy promotion type of thing? Most people don't know what Golden Boy is, like Oscar de la Hoya. Like did he have a promotion? Was like, nah,
correct,
dude.
Correct.
Okay, so he owned the promotion. Okay,
there was an M1 Global. Yeah.
Okay, so that's his promotion. So he was like, listen,
correct.
So and UFC don't do. I get. You know what? I can see why. Because he was that popular. Like, nah, dude, I'm so big. I'm my own brand. Like, I'm my own fucking brand. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure, like, that brand is big as fucking Russia, right?
I mean, he's not like, like a hero as much as you would think. But I mean, the guy's got, $30 million. There's not a lot of MMA fighters that have that kind of
absolutely,
money.
definitely not.
So,
no.
He's
look at that. He made $30 million without fighting the UFC.
Yes.
And there's guys in the UFC like Woodley, guys who's been there. He hasn't made $30 million in his career, who gave everything his all in the UFC. But come on.
I'm telling you right now.
Did Woodley really make $30 million?
No.
Exactly.
But I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Fedor, he's fought for Donald Trump. In 2008, Donald Trump went to his fights. 2009, Donald Trump was there. He went into the ring, shook his hand, took pictures with him.
Why?
Because
fucking commie?
Well, because this guy makes a lot of money. Like you said, it's weird that he can make millions.
I don't like that. See, I don't like that. That's right there. I don't like that either. Donnie Trump.
You know what's crazy?
Donnie Trump played himself if he did that.
Do you know what's crazy? When he had his last fight in Chicago, the FBI investigated him. They actually did an interview with him.
The FBI.
Why? We don't know. Yeah, it's strange. Like,
they don't know. Yeah, you know what? This FBI with all this don't get me started. See, don't get me started here. We're wrapping this up over here. And you know what? As a matter of fact, we got the girl over there, the other one, the new one, and she's been doing. I'm not gonna lie. I know you got your back turned. Now I just ignore them. I'm not gonna fucking wrap me up and shit. I know you got your helicopter gig, but so I'm gonna let you go because to be honest, I didn't know if you know this. I think we went like she's like mad pissed. She's been banging on the window, but you can't hear it because it's soundproof. and you know what? Ricky's doing the right thing. Ricky, she doesn't even know, and hope she's not listening. Ricky gave her a lemon pie square. And if you anybody who's listening this long and is savvy, who knows what a lemon pie square is, we're not talking about pastry here, ladies and gentlemen. We kind of are, but not necessarily. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate Sack. What a great conversation, but you have to go. I totally understand that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the nightly news with the Heapsack. There it is, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, even in this helicopter, on all his glory, should all wave to him. Fuck the commies. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back. I know some of you guys are catching this on Saturday morning because you're not probably catching it from the live event over here that we share. Not doing, but it is the Lobo Show, segment number 3. Lobo, Heap Sack. What's good in the hood, everybody? We were talking about a little earlier about the fucking whole MMA situation and shit, and I want to say something I think that's important here. I know we usually brush off topics here in the third segment, and I think that's important to Heap Sack here as well. For what is being dropped here in the news wire here live at the Lobo Show. I think Richard Head is in my ear, and he's giving me some news here through the headsets, but 2-day-old news. But what I'm telling you here, it's HBO. HBO, ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows what HBO is. I don't give a fuck what country you're from. No longer will HBO carry boxing. Professional boxing will no longer be in HBO. Heap Sack, what the fuck is going on? Let me just say this before you say anything. Is it truly, can you truly say now, boxing is dead?
Lobo, I've heard you say that over and over and over. And, man, this is heavy. This is heavy. This is, we like to have fun here, but,
sure.
This is not, cool. And is it dead?
Sucks. No, Jim Lampley? Where's Jim Lampley going to go? What about Roy Jones Jr.?
That's what I'm saying. Jim Lampley.
Max Kellerman.
Yes. You know what I mean? You can't do this. You just can't, because when I think of
Larry Merchant
boxing, sure, you know what I mean. What about the Letterman card? Like all.
Ladies and gentlemen, 9 rounds to 3. Oscar De La Hoya.
I don't agree with this, Lobo.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
I don't agree with it. Right.
I just don't. I don't understand.
Because you know why? To be honest, I completely always felt, like I said, I never was a Showtime guy, and I know most West Coast people, they're Showtime people. I think maybe it's an East Coast thing with bias, and I don't know if that's even the case. But to me, HBO, when it came down to it, was the NFL. Yes. You know what I mean?
It was way superior.
Yeah, absolutely. HBO was the WWE. Like, remember, like they did the old WCW? HBO was the WWE. HBO was that pinnacle. It was that shit. It was the number one fucking brand. And when you saw HBO boxing, you saw Mike Tyson, you saw fucking Lennox Lewis at the time, you saw Holyfield, you saw Foreman win those big fucking fights. You saw all. You saw them all.
Mayweather.
You saw all the Mayweather.
Started.
Forget about it.
Started on HBO.
I'm telling you right now.
Manny
you know
Pacquiao.
what? Yep. You know what killed HBO? I'm telling you right now. You know what was the first part of the downfall? Forget about that. Is when Floyd Mayweather left and he went to Showtime. When Floyd Mayweather, I'm telling you right now, that was the downhill of boxing. I think they still had Canelo. That Canelo Triple G was HBO pay-per-view, if I'm correct.
Yes, it was.
And I know they did that cross promotion and shit, but I'm telling you right now, HBO was superior. It was. You had better fucking fights, especially in the beginning. You had the best commentators. Now I know people say Larry Merchant was a little over the top and out of touch.
Great.
He was great.
That was
though.
Perfect. Yeah.
Jim Lampley was one of the greatest, the most underrated commentator of all time in sports. Let me tell you something. Ladies and gentlemen, De La Hoya got robbed tonight. Like, man, the guy was like the Jim Ross of fucking boxing and shit. The guy was in there. Max Kellerman came in there a little later but he was a smart kid at the time, very smart. Roy Jones was, Roy Jones is Roy Jones and shit. Roy Jones is cool because he was like, he retired early. And he was like, even though he wasn't that young, but he always looked at younger. He looked at the 10 years younger than he was. And he looked like $1 million. And he was, it's like it's Roy Jones and shit. It's like he's proven. So it was like the staff was great. And then you had Emmanuel Stewart come in there and shit, Emmanuel Stewart is the fucking man. He was a manager and shit. And he's a guy who had a lot of insight. And man, like the staff was great in terms of HBO boxing. The presentation was amazing. Nobody will forget the beginning, and nobody will forget the fucking guy who commentated and shit in HBO boxing, Leah Shriver. He said HBO Sports. So to me, when you kill HBO boxing, just like when he lost the NFL thing, remember when he training camp? I think Showtime owns it now. It's like they lost Lee Shriver. It's like, okay, and I don't like the response. Like, we're not going newsy here. It's the third segment, but I remember some of the things that they said. Like, the HBO we want to move forward. You can get boxing in every channel now. This is why it's not important anymore.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be about that. It should be like this
What?
is where it started. Like if you want to think about it, all the big fights, pay-per-view fights, this is where it started, and now you just don't want to have it because it's everywhere. The way I look at
Horseshit.
it is HBO, they had to, I mean, they should have stayed loyal. I'm not gonna say they had to stay loyal, but they should have stayed loyal because this is gonna bite them on the butt. I guarantee
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely, 100% agree. But the problem was that they didn't have the big stars. They didn't have Anthony Joshua. I think the biggest star was Canelo Alvarez. I think, to be honest, really, when it comes out to the HBO flag, really, if I'm wrong on that side, I know you a little more.
Well, I
You know
mean,
me.
like the thing about HBO is HBO would have Top Rank and Golden Boy fighters. So they had their Amir Khans and Canelos. But you're right. I mean, it's not like it's not the Mayweather show. You know what
Right,
I mean? They're not
exactly,
gonna,
right.
yeah.
Mayweather put
But
those guys out of fucking business. Now, what's going to happen here is this. Now, unfortunately, the staff is gone. Like, hopefully Jim Lampley. Like I said, don't cry for Argentina for Jim Lampley. The guy's a multimillionaire, and the rest of them. But it's like it sucks. Like I said, dude. But I just want to say this: was George Foreman knocking out Michael Moorer at fucking 50 years old? Was that not important? Is that a legacy that you don't want to fucking continue? I mean, come on, though. I mean, I don't get it. And HBO made a lot of money when it comes down to these pay-per-views and everything. I think that they didn't have any. I think that Showtime had the more impressive fighters. I think that Showtime literally came out with the fucking Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, which is probably the biggest fight in it didn't surpass the Pacquiao. Did it surpass the Pacquiao fight?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it didn't.
No. No.
But I mean, that had to been a hole in it. And Anthony Joshua, Triple G, he's an HBO guy, though, right?
Yep, he is.
He is. But I guess a Triple G and Joshua won't hold as much numbers in the heavyweights are doing right now. I could be wrong on that. Is that right or wrong? Who draws more money, Canelo or Joshua?
Oh, I mean,
Because the Mexican money, but what about that English money, though?
Well, this is the way I look at it. Canelo is the biggest star in boxing today. That's currently still fighting. You know what I mean? Anthony Joshua is a big star. Don't get me wrong. And yeah, he could sell out and everything. But the thing is, he is the heavyweight champion for England. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
What do you mean? No, he's the world champion. That's their fighter.
Yeah,
he's
but
the world champion.
But over here, like in the States, we want to represent Deontay Wilder because he is also the heavyweight champion. So there's like this thing, like I mean, they're gonna actually.
Well, see, so it's that one final thing. One final thing I'm going to say, right? See, it's weird. Now, it's not necessarily the Showtime belt and the HBO belt, but it kind of was though like that. It was two promotions. I know they got the Golden Boys and the Mayweather, but it really, when it comes down to it, it was like there was the HBO. It was like the HBO.
Well, what it really was, it was
Showtime.
Like HBO had the WBC, and I believe Showtime had the WBA.
The WBO.
Yeah, you're right.
WBO. And then like the IBF would be somewhere in the middle and some shit. But it's like, but now Showtime won the fucking war when it comes down to it. Secretly, like fucking for HBO to throw the flag in. And I know ESPN is going to try to heavily get involved in this whole thing.
Oh, they bought everybody. Yeah, I mean, UFC is going over there. Top Rank Boxing is going over there. Everything's going over there to ESPN.
Right. There you go, man. ESPN is going to be fucking Fight Central, but I never had confidence in ESPN truly covering fighting, to be quite frank. That whole thing what they had, I don't know if you saw this after the Canelo fight. Now, I'm never going to wrap this up, and hopefully we're not boring people. Hopefully people are just they're listening even more. But I thought it was disgraceful when he had Stephen A. Smith with Teddy Atlas, and the whole time he was like, Teddy Atlas, you don't know shit about boxing, blah blah blah. Not in those words, but he practically was saying that. It's a Teddy Atlas, dude.
They were arguing almost.
Yeah,
I saw that they were going crazy.
It was disgusting. It was disgusting. You know what? That was a great discussion, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Lobo Show. We have to wrap things up here. I don't know, Sack. What do you want to do tonight, man? A couple of steaks, maybe go on the boat, check out the fucking stars.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm saying, man, Friday, Saturday, we do our things. I know Saturdays is the day we wake up with the huge hangover, the Lobo Show hangovers. And I'm not going to lie, between me and you, I got to crack a couple of skulls, man, because there's some guys behind the scenes that has not been stepping it up. And I'm not talking about Richard over here, because he killed it the other night. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He did his fucking thing. But we wanted to thank everybody who's listening. Like, comment, sub. Or don't, or tell us to go fuck ourselves. That's all right. But I want to thank Sarah Olson for the theme song of her edition of Home of the Blues. Please check her out. She's amazing. She's great. I'm a big fan of hers. Me and the Sack is. And if there isn't anything else, say goodnight, Heap Sack.
Good night, Heapsake.
Just around the corner that is high. Down the street that losers use. If you can wade in through the teardrops, you find me at the home of the blues. I walk and I cry while my heart beats, keeps time with the track of my shoes. The sun never shines through this window of mine. It's dark at the home of the blues. Oh, but the place is filled with the sweetest memories. Memories so sweet I wanna cry. Dreams that I've had left me feeling so bad. I just wanna give up, lay down and die. So if you just lost your sweetheart and it seems there's no good way to choose, come along with me, misery lovers company. You're welcome at the home of the blues. You're welcome at the home of the blues. Just around the corner that is high. Down the street that losers use. If you can wade in through the teardrops, my friend, you find me at the home of the blues. You find me at the home of the blues.